Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to answer the age-old question of what happens to a Fender Champ when it gets dropped. Stick around to find out. We're going to get this thing working. Okay, before we plug this guy in, I did want to let you guys know I have opened up a paid tier of my Patreon at the $5 mark. That's going to get you early access to videos, full extended cuts of the videos. I'm going to start cutting things down a little bit to take out some of the fluff for the longer repairs, but we'll keep the longer repair videos at that tier. And then things like polls to help decide the direction of the channel in terms of what will be worked on next when it's not a customer amp or something like that that has a deadline already. So if you're interested, check that out. Otherwise, just keep watching. Free content will still be up on YouTube as it's been, as well as on the Patreon. Okay, so let's see what's going on with this guy. This is I believe, 1973. We'll take a closer look here once I can get it opened up. But for now, I just want to go ahead and plug this in on the current limiter to see if it powers up. I was told that it does not power on after being dropped. Amp was dropped, power tube was broken and replaced, and now, look at that, straight away, power's on. Okay, let's investigate further. Just double checking the fuse here, and it does in fact have a 1 amp fuse, which we know it should from reading the back panel here. So that's good. Okay, so before we get too far with this thing, we're still powered up on the current limiter. We do have control over the bass and treble, although the pods are kind of dirty and it sounds like there's maybe some leakage from a cap there. However, this knob, the volume knob, is obviously bent at the shaft. Can't physically turn it all the way. And it also appears to have no effect on the volume. So we are going to open this thing up and see what's going on. Okay, so a couple things I'm noticing before we even open it up. Power cable is totally losing its insulation here. We're going to want to recommend changing this out for one that's in a little bit better shape. At this point, I've already checked the fuse, and we saw that that was the correct value, so that's a great place to start. We're going to need to disconnect our speaker. Looks like we have a new Jensen special design 4-ohm in there, which that should be okay. Looks like it's a 8-inch speaker probably too, the CR8, which I know that's not too uncommon on these amps. So we need to remove the strain relief here. And then we'll flip the amp back over. Now I was told the customer bought this RCA tube. I believe it must have been this guy. They said they replaced a tube. And now we've got these guys to reckon with. I'm just going to fast forward this part for you. Let's see if we can get this. Okay, that's a better view. So usually you have to stick your finger underneath here to hold on to the nut that's inside while releasing these guys. And usually, so there are supports on the backside for the chassis internal to the cabinet here. But despite that, I recommend doing this with the amp on its side, because it can be very hard to hold the chassis in place while also unscrewing things However, if you go like this, make sure you're still in frame, everything will be supported still. And I'm still having to put the hand into the back to hold on to the nut. I also recommend using a hand screwdriver for this. If you are going to use a powered screwdriver or drill or something for this, start and end by hand so you don't end up stripping out the heads of the screws that are in place. And then when I'm storing these, I usually put them all back together as a unit. You can see this guy must have been replaced at some point. There's no locking mechanism on there. Okay. And this is the process for removing the chassis on a Champ. Moving forward with these videos, this is the kind of thing that I'll probably cut out and just have for the people that are interested in it. Don't want to get to a point where these videos are dragging on unnecessarily for those who are not interested. So I'll probably have 2 edits for people that are interested in the long form, totally unedited stuff. You can grab that through the Patreon and get early access. And for everybody else, you'll have to wait an extra 24 hours and get the edited down videos that are just covering the actual repair. Okay, so at this point I can grab the power transformer and gently move this chassis out of the head cabinet. And I'll set that down, move the cab out of the way. Okay, we can see from our date codes, we've got a 606-301, 606-303. So this is most likely a 73 based on the silver face panel. The 3 indicates the ones place of the year. These are the weeks, so 01, 03. So an early 73 Fender. We still have our original filter cap, multi-can cap in place. And let's see what we got going on the other side here. Okay. Looks all original. And this pot was totally not controlling things, but seems to be connected. Let's go ahead and double check that we don't have any live voltage in this amp. So for that, I'm going to go to DC volts. I can just go against the chassis here for my ground. Or I can clip this on if I want to be even safer. So I only have one hand in the amp at a time. And I'll go ahead and check. Look at that, 31 volts. Okay, it's a good thing I didn't start just grabbing stuff. That would have led to a little shock. Now, if I want to discharge that, the easiest way is to use my meter. Set this to DC amps. Hook up across there. We're going to ground, so we're going to go from the red probe to the point that has voltage. It's going to go through the fuse on the meter. We're going to see the DC amperage. And we'll discharge to the chassis. There's that big spike from that initial connection. And then dropping down. into the microamp range. We'll just wait a second. If you want to be even safer with this, you can put a resistor in series and it will slow down that process based on the RC time constant of the resistor value chosen. But really, this is, in most cases, safe enough way. I try to get myself in a position where I'm not discharging so much stored energy. There we go. Now we're down to about a volt. And it will start to climb back up like that because of the capacitors being formed and basically being used to having a certain charge on either side of their plates. Okay. So, what happens when a champ gets dropped? Apparently, you typically drop it on the volume knob, which becomes problematic because that volume knob ends up with a bent shaft, which, as I'm sure we all can agree on, is not a good thing to have. Let's see if I can get a smaller screwdriver here. Okay, let's try this guy. Oh, that's interesting. I think someone's put a different set screw. This one's original with the flathead. I didn't even notice that. Those look like they're hex. Okay, gotta grab the multi-tool set. Okay, we're grabbing a Torx T8 is what my little set says for this. Okay. There's that guy. Well, we can leave this one on. Now, this pot does have full range of motion. It is loose on here at the chassis. And it looks like there's something going on here. That wire, this wire is connected to ground. Now I wonder if this is just because our shielding is shorting out. Let's see what's going on. I'm going to tighten this down first of all. Let's see. Is this guy going to do it? 7/16 of an inch. Now this is a replaced pot. This is an alpha pot. And the wiring certainly looks different than what I would expect. Let's see. There's kind of a floating ground point from this wire. Let's get you in closer so you can see this. Okay, so this connection here is going to this side, which is also connected to the shielding from this wire. But this, it's just tack soldered on to a connection to our chassis ground, which very easily could have just been shorting out against this other connection. So I'm actually going to tighten this down in a way where that short circuit is not happening, and keep an eye on it and fire this back up and see if this pot is now working. Okay, so we're back on the current limiter, and we do actually have control. However, the volume pot is wired up backwards. And I'm just doing a little tap test. Okay, so I'm not sure really what the drop did to this amp. To be honest with you, apparently when you drop a Fender Champ, it gets a new pot that's wired up incorrectly on the volume pot. So that's good news. This amp is in better shape than I expected it to be. It does have all original filter caps though. So if this is going to be used, I'm going to make sure the customer has a quote for that. I'm going to quote them on fixing this also and see how they want to proceed. But this is a much better scenario than I was expecting when I heard a dropped amp. I was expecting maybe having to clean some glass out of here and go from there, especially with the idea that it wasn't powering on. That could have meant something really got knocked loose. But this looks to be outside of the volume pot, a representation of a very nice, mostly original, early 70s Fender Champ amp, which is a great amp to have. So, yeah, I think that's going to be it for this guy. Again, if you want to see the longer unedited videos going forward and get early access to those, check out the Patreon. It's Technology Enterprises over at Patreon. But also, I'm not going to change anything about really about how this channel has been handled in the free access. I'm just looking for ways to expand things as I'm moving through making more content. So let me know if you have thoughts on that. And as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. I'll continue with the repair on this once I hear back from the customer and know how they want to proceed. And we'll show you guys that process as always. Have a good evening. We'll see you soon.